In this video, let us see how to create the folder size analyzer using Python. Using this script, you can know what are the folders are taking up how many spaces, what are the files are taking how many spaces. You know that popular tool called the WinDirStat, right? It will show you which files and folders are eating up your disk space. We're gonna build exactly like that, but with just pure Python, no libraries, no installation, just using the OS module only. Consider this software, right? And you consider it will show you which folder are taking your how many space. If I expand this one, right, consider these are the folders it has. This file takes 0 bytes and this file takes 0 bytes as well. Let me expand another folder. Consider when I expand desktop, you consider this file takes 40 KB. So this is the demo of the software, and let me show you the Python script that I have built. So let me run the Python script now. Consider it will show you all the files with the size it has take up. You consider I have passed this path over here, screen recording folder, and I have got all the files over here along with their file size. So you consider this file takes about 1 MB, and it is ordered by the biggest to smallest. So let us see how to create this Python script from scratch. So let me clear now, and let's import the OS library. As usual, I'm going to use this library only, and let's create a function called the size, and this will take the default parameter. So by default it will look for the current folder, that is, let me put dot here, and let's also put the intent. So this intent will be very helpful when we want to print the folder size and the folder path. And inside this, let's create a list and items list. So we're gonna maintain this list and put we're gonna maintain all the file size and the folder path over there. So let's call this a function now, and inside this we need to pass the path over here. I'm gonna select the downloads folder, or let me select this one here, screen recording. Inside this I have many files over here. Let me copy this path and let me paste the path over here. Then we can loop through this folder now. So for name in, so I'm gonna loop through the path now, individual path. So os.listed directory will show you what are the files are there and what are the subfolders are there. So inside this I'm gonna pass the path, then I will get the full path. So I have a file, but I need to get the full path, right? So full path equal to os.join path. So inside this I will pass the path as well as the name. This will give us the full path. So now we have the full path, right? So then we need to check whether the file path is a folder or a file. So I will check if os.path is directory. If it is a directory, because that directory will contain some another files inside it. So consider inside this I don't have any subfolders, but let me show you with another folder. Consider this is the documents folder, and inside this document folder I have another subfolders as well. So let me copy this path and let me update this with the documents folder. So inside this documents you consider I have many subfolders, and inside this, so actually we don't have anything here. So let me go inside the song. You consider inside this songs folder we have some files. This is what we are checking here. If the file is actually another folder, what we will do is we will call another function. So file size equal to, we will call a function called the get folder size. So inside this just pass the full path, but if the full path is actually a file, then we can get the size directly. L size equal to, we can get the file size directly if it is just a file. So is that path that get size, and inside this just pass the path, and that's it. Now this will give us the size of the file. Now let's create that function now, get folder size. Let's see how to do that. So let me create this function. So the get folder size, this will take the full path as a parameter, and inside this what we will do is I'm going to use a function called the os.walk, and before that let's also define the total equal to 0. So we're going to add for each files to this variable. So I'm going to use a for loop. So I will explain what this does for root, for directory, and for the files in os.walk. So let me explain what this os.walk function will do. So inside this let me pass the full path, and this is the main function over here, os.walk. So let me explain this with an example. You consider, for example, let's take this path over here, os.walk. Inside this I have passed this once. So in the first loop what it will do is it will give the root as this path over here. This is the current folder, and then it will give the directories as these ones. This is the subfolders. Consider this is the root, and these are the directories, and these are the files present inside the current folder. So you consider files equal to notes.txt and intro.mp4. So this is first loop. On the second loop what it will do is it will go inside the subfolder. For example, the subfolder is obs here, right? In the loop 2, the root will become this one. It will go inside the obs folder. Now that obs folder don't have any subfolders, so it will be an empty list, but it has some files, recording1.mp4 and recording2.mp4. This is loop 2. In the loop 2, 3, what it will do is it will go to the next folder, that is the clips. Consider now the root has becomes clips and the directory. It don't have any subfolders, and the files it has contain one files, and it will go on. So the next loop will be it will go for the export folder. So this is how the os.walk function will do. So now we have the 3 parameters: root, directory and files. First, what we will do is we will get all the files. So for fin files, then we can get the full path. So fp equal to os.path.join. So inside this pass the root as well as the, so this will give us the full path of the file. So once we have the full path, right, then we need to check if that file is actually a file or is just a shortcut. So if os.path is link, if it is a shortcut, so we wanna check if it is not a shortcut, then we can get the size, that is total plus equal to os.path dot get size, and inside this pass the fp, that is full path. But if it is an actual file, not a shortcut, we can get this file size directly and we can add it to the total. Return total, that's it. So now we have covered this get folder size, right? So we need to add all these items to the items list. So we're gonna add 3 things: the file, the size and the directory, if it is a directory or not. So I will explain why we show the directory. So we're gonna pass file name and the is directory, os.path.is directory. We're gonna check. I will explain why we are passing this in the later part of this video. So we are passing these 3 parameters to this list item. So once we have these details appended to the list, then what we will do is we will sort the list by biggest to smallest. So we're gonna set the reverse equal to true. Then what we can do is we can simply print the file size. So for size, name and directory. So these are the 3 information that we have appended to the list, right? So file name and the directory. So for file name and directory in the items list is there in items list. We will first check if it is a directory. If it is a directory, what we will do is we will put the folder icon. But if it is a file, we will put the files icon on this full path. That's why we have earlier added this is directory to the list. So prefix equal to, so if it is a directory, so we will set the icon to folder icon, but if it is a file, we will set the icon to file icon. And finally we can print now. So I'm going to use a string here. So first you will set the indentation. So the indentation, so we're going to multiply it with the intent. So in the top you can say we have set the default parameter to be 0, so we'll have to multiply this with the intent. So this will give us the space before printing. So this is indent, right? Then we can print this prefix. So let me print the prefix over here inside the curly brace. So this will print the prefix. Then we need to print the size. So to get the size, actually by default it will give us the size in bytes. We need to convert this into megabytes or gigabytes. So for that we need to create another function as usual, but let's call that function now. The function name will be format size, and inside this you need to pass the size. And finally we're gonna print the name, file name. So let's create this function now. So let me create this function at the top. So def format size, so this will take the size as a parameter. First we need to define what are the units are there. We have the byte. So for unit in, so we have the byte, right? We have the kilobyte, we have the megabyte, gigabyte, you will go up to terabyte. So then we will check if the size is less than 124, then we will directly return the size or return. So we will return the size in 2 decimal. That's why :2f. So this will give us the result in 2 decimal and along with the unit. So this will be unit. So we will have to reduce the size in each for loop to get appropriate unit. So size, so we're gonna divide it by the 1024, right? And that's it. Now we have done everything. Let me run this Python scripts. Python main.py. Actually we got a error here, so we had to put 2 forward slash. So let me change the single forward slash to double forward slash, and let me run the Python script again. And that's it. Consider we got the results over here. So we consider we got the For folders, we got the folder icon. For files, we got the file icon. And you consider this folder doesn't contain anything MCP tutorial. So let me go inside that folder. Consider MCP tutorial. Inside it, we don't have anything. That's why it's shown 0 KB. So let me try this on the downloads folder. So let me copy these paths for the downloads and let me paste it over here and let me run the Python script. So again, we have to change the single forward slash to double forward slash. I think it is backward slash. So make sure you have the 2 backward slash because now we got all the files along with their file size. So let me scroll up because we have sorted it by max to minimum because this is the highest file size taking of software folder which takes up to 323 MB, and below that it will list all the lowest ones because we have reversed this by highest one because those two smallest, that's why we have reversed. So yeah, this is how you create the basic folder size analyzer using Python. So I will provide the source code in the description, you can check that out. And this is for this video and we will continue in the next one.